The thumbnail is not wrong, and this is definitely the closest thing we're gonna have to loaded question. Now, if you don't know what the loaded question is, this is now a sunset fusion rifle, and it was the first fusion rifle to ever come with reservoir burst. This also did have auto loading on it, so it was really good because you could shoot your reservoir burst shot, then swap off to it, let it auto load, then you're just gonna reload that shot for you, and you can pretty much have infinite uptime on that reservoir burst. And also, really quick, if you don't know what reservoir burst does, it's just when the battery is full, your next burst deals additional damage and causes enemies to explode on death. It's a very good fusion rifle perk, arguably one of the best, and this thing used to be a monster back in the day. It was one of my favorite weapons. Well, fast forward, we've had some other fusion rifles with reservoir burst, but none really came close to being as good as the original. But when Midas Reckoning came around, this was definitely its 2.0 version, which is why the title says 3.0. So with Midas Reckoning, this also can get reservoir burst and something like field prep to give it more ammo. But the thing is, with its origin trait, it has run it over, reloading near allies overflows the magazine. So the overflow part of this perk will actually proc reservoir burst, and that means you can have multiple reservoir burst shots in the fusion rifle, which is really, really good. But the problem is that run it over is going to be a team-based perk where you can't really activate it as much solo. So that is kind of why this one isn't as good as the fusion rifle we're going over today. And that fusion rifle is none other than the Royal Executioner. Now, a lot of these seasonal weapons, in my opinion, are very sleeper picks, so I may actually make a bunch of other videos on these seasonal weapons. If you guys like to see those, be sure to stick around. But this one is all about the Royal Executioner. This is going to be an adaptive frame fusion rifle. It is going to be solar, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is the first solar fusion rifle with reservoir burst, which is pretty neat. Now, we know what reservoir burst does, but let's take a look at the other perk, Envious Assassin. This is going to be the main perk you want to run if you are trying to run a setup like this or PvE, but this is defeating targets with other weapons before drawing. This one transfers ammo to the magazine from reserves. This effect can overflow the magazine based on the number of targets defeated. So we'll show some gameplay off of that in a second, but it's pretty self-explanatory how that's going to work. But I do want to go over its origin trait really quick, which is Noble Deeds. It says this weapon gains charges after assisting allies with revives, healing, overshields, or subclass buffs. Defeating targets consumes charges. While charged, this weapon gains bonus handling and reload speed or charge rate for swords. So honestly, what sucks is the origin trait for this doesn't really do much for the weapon, since we're gonna have an overflow magazine anyway. The only thing that can really do much for it is the handling. I wish there was a better origin trait, but this is just what we got with it. But you don't really have to worry about that too much. The gun still performs extremely well. While we're loading in really quick, I do want to talk about forbearance, because I honestly think this is probably going to be your best option if you can't raid a lot and you don't have a forbearance. I think we all know how strong this special weapon is with Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction, and then also with its origin trait being able to heal you every time you reload the gun. This is by far one of the best clear special weapons in the game. But if you cannot raid, this is going to be a very, very good alternative, because you will indeed get that clear, and it's arguably a little bit better for single target damage because you will have a bunch of reservoir burst shots. All right, so let's show off how this works. As you see, I do have 7 shots in the mag with 15 in reserves. So if we come up here, let's actually just shoot a shot off really quick so we get to 6. And if we get 1 kill, it will reload the gun. So you can kind of use it in that sense already, where you could just, shoot a reservoir burst shot, get a kill, and then your gun's going to be reloaded and you already have another one proc, which is really, really strong on its own. Now, it also has the other aspect where if you get multi-kills with the gun, it will actually overflow the magazine. So as you see, if we get some thrall kills right here, we'll just get a couple racked up. I think you have around like a 10 to 12 second time to get these kills, so you can kind of start racking them up if you are killing a lot of enemies. As you see, we now have 13 rounds in the magazine. So what's really cool is, if you see, this reservoir burst shot will actually continuously shoot all the way down until you get to that 7th shot. So once you get to the 7th shot, this is the last one, because now you're out of that max ammo capacity, so obviously you won't be getting the perk anymore. All right, so I kind of want to show you how strong this perk can be if you are getting a lot of multi-kills. So as you see, we do have 20 in reserves right now, and I'm actually going to take my grenade launcher out and just get a ton of multi-kills really quick. Obviously, you're not going to be using your heavy to get a ton of kills, but if you are using your primary, this will just be a good representation if you are getting a ton of kills. As you see, once we swap back over, we have 18 to shoot off. So that means you would have 11 reservoir burst shots that you could shoot off that will have that increased damage, and it will also make enemies explode, which is very, very strong. Now, if you want to see how big the explosion is, this is something you can kind of think of. I'll let some of these thrall group up so you can definitely get a better representation. But as you see, pretty much 1 kill takes out those whole enemies right there, and then you can kind of just keep on doing it and pretty much everything does. It's a very fun perk. Now, the last thing I do want to note is that I would highly recommend running liquid coils on this fusion rifle, because this will give you that increased impact damage, which makes it easier to get those one-shot kills, and pairing that with the damage increase that Reservoir Burst gets, it just goes hand in hand. Reservoir Burst also gives you a +1 in the magazine. It is highly recommended to not run something like ionized battery. That would bump the magazine up to 8, and that means you would just have one less Reservoir Burst shot, because you want to have the magazine as low as possible. Unfortunately, 7 is the lowest you can get, but thankfully, if this thing can get a bunch of ammo in the mag, and you don't really have to worry about that higher magazine size. You also do have the ability, again, to shoot one shot, then swap over to a primary weapon, just get a kill, and it reloads the gun. It is very, very strong. It's kind of a mixture of overflow and auto-loading in one perk, and I think this definitely is a very, very good special weapon that you should craft if you do have the resources to do it. But anyway, that's going to do it all for me. Let me know what you all think about the Royal Executioner. Are you going to be looking out for a role like this? But as always, if y'all enjoy and learn anything new, consider subscribing, drop a like, turn those notifications on. Also, if you'd like to join my Discord or follow me on any of my socials, all that will be linked in the description as well. But just know watching this video is way more than enough, and that every single bit of support from you all is truly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching this one, and have a great day. Peace.